Tov. We'd like to begin. I know many folks have flights to catch, so we'd like to get started. We have been treated as well, if not better, than you could ever hope by the people of Savannah. And as our representative of Savannah and Savannah's Jewish community, we would like to bring back Rabbi Slatus to start us off today and let him have some remarks before we close the show. Let's welcome back Rabbi Avigdor Slatus.
Thank you very much. I came this morning, Jerry Kaminsky and I came. We weren't scheduled to be here, but we wanted to further emphasize our support for what we believe is a very, very monumental and significant and important conference. I was not prepared, so to say, to get up and speak, but as somebody said, a rabbi always has to be prepared. But then I was told that I have around 60 seconds, which is torture for a rabbi to confine himself to 60 seconds. But the altar in the temple was magnificent, and it had different sections, one built upon the other. But the bottom area was the most important. That was called the Yesod, the foundation. When you have a strong foundation, then you can build. And when you build and you have something of value, it's going to bring good people together, and it's going to bring out the goodness that lies in all people. I am very, very pleased and happy to have been such a small part of this conference, and I applaud Orly and David Benny Davis and all the individuals who made the trip to come here and to spread some of their knowledge and wisdom and to help share it with others. And I believe that we have established the Yesod, the foundation upon which we are going to build for years to come, understanding, harmony, knowledge, and who knows, maybe through our efforts, we can begin to open up that door to a true and everlasting peace. I thank you.
A beautiful use of 60 seconds, for sure. Thank you, Rabbi, very, very much for your time and for coming out not once but twice. We appreciate that. We're going to do a slight panel situation where we'll bring up Dr. Geeson, please, and we'll bring up Orly Benny Davis. If anyone has any questions that they would like to ask, we would love to have them join us up here. We have a microphone. I'll ask if you have a question or comment, you let us use the microphone because we are going to put it all on DVD so everyone can have it, a record and a piece of history with them. Let's go ahead and ask Dr. Geeson to come up, and we'll also ask the Queen Bee herself and the organizer of Convergence 2006. Let's also ask Orly Benny Davis to join us on stage. Let me start with Dr. Geeson. I want to ask a question, and then we can do some statements. But most importantly, I'd like to know, what do you think people that attended this conference, and what do you want people that have attended this conference to leave here with? What is important for people to remember of this visit?
First of all, I think I'd be remiss if I don't pay tribute to Orly Benny Davis and to David for what they've done. In our heritage, in our Bible, as well as in modern writings, there's always a distinction between Kohen and Navi. You know, the Navi is a prophet. The Kohen is one who practices and puts into and implements I would say, the vision that that the Navi, the prophet, has. I think we have here a unique personality, and I think Orly Benny Davis combines, and really in her presence, in her deeds, in her vision, combines both the prophet and the Kohen. In other words, she had the vision to start this convergence, and the convergence of the Kohen and the Navi. In other words, being able to implement and to carry on and to get down to the minute details of how to bring this vision of the Convergence Conference into being. And I think this is a good start. From here on, once she led the way, she was first at the door, as we said when we jump. Now the rest will follow. And I think when you go back to your communities, the important thing that you have to spread is that there is a possibility of changing the reality, through perceptions. And when we bring together, I would say, the joint interest of the United States and Israel, the common values that we share, and the relentless quest for peace that we all have, then we can ensure that what Orly Benny Davis has started will have continuity, not only here and not just in future Convergence Conference, but in other conferences as well. And for that, I really wanted to thank you, Orly, very much.
Let's ask Orly to give her thoughts. Is Convergence Conference 2006 what you envisioned? What was your dream before, and what is your reality now?
You know, in 2003, we had, 2006, we had a year of many events. One of the major events that we had a feeling in the Jewish population across the globe that something is changing. When we feel that something will change, we really feel for the worst. In March, when the article of Harvard professor was published, we stand up in the university and we said, you know, we have to do something about it. It's not going to be silence from our side. And as I always say, not on my watch. I promised it to myself. And I started asking people, can you come and join? And Giora said, yes, Orly, I'm finishing my job. If I'm still available, I'll be happy. I said, okay, this is one. Then I asked Ranan. Ranan says, let me know, we'll be there. I said, okay, two. Now, after everything started to roll. In June 2006, I didn't feel so well, so they found out that I had a little brain tumor. I said to the doctor, doctor, I'm too busy. The doctor was looking at me and said, what'd she say? I'm too busy, I have stuff to do. And I said, okay, what to do? I'll leave it for later. I went to Mary and to Richard, took care of me, and then they said, you know, you have to take care of it. I said, okay, after the conference, we're busy. By July, I knew I couldn't take it. I was working, but against myself, it was a struggle. And Kevin Giladai was screaming at me, said, go take care of yourself. So I went to a wonderful thing. This is probably my phone, I apologize. I want to tell you about wonderful things. There is a network of global doctors that is run by Rabbi Führer that says to everybody, whoever needs something in any kind of medicine, you can tap into that network and they'll give him the best doctor there is around that can treat that. So, of course, I said what I know about that. I went to Rabbi Führer. Soon enough, I get one of the best doctors in the world from Japan. I said, well, if he eats sushi, you can handle that. And I try to keep it really, really simple and fun, so I don't get in that situation where I felt that it's not going to work. I believed. I made an appointment a week after I made the operation. 2 months here, there we go. I knew that we're going to come together and make it happen. So I'm not the same person who started the event. I'm a different person because after when you're faced with a challenge like this, that was a challenge, you know that life is really precious. And love for life makes you fight for it. And right now I'm going to fight for the life of all of us in the world to make sure that the life in Israel is safe, Americans is safe, are safe all over. And I'm going to do it with my little way. I'm going to come, bring together, try to make new idea, try to influence the politician, and then we'll see. We'll follow them, and with ministers, with rabbis, people that really value what life can give. I think together we have a great combination. So I do thank all of those people that travel, those people that reach out from all over, from the Christian community, from the Jewish community, from Israel. The people that came from Israel just gave me the spirit of Israel again, and I felt home in my heart. So I'm so thankful for that. So I'm very, very honored for everything. Thank you. And I'm sure that everybody can say something about Kevin Cohen. He is terrific.
You're going home, and you're going to carry this bag of Convergence, and in it you'll have the material that you have. But I always am the opinion, having been in the media battlefield, on the media theater for 25 years or so, that when you come away from that battle, you have to carry some pictures in your mind. And if you'll allow me, in a couple of minutes, I want to summarize this conference with the pictures that I think you should carry in your mind. Convergence is the appropriate word because, as I said, convergence of hearts and minds. But when we deal with the substance of Jewish existence, of Israeli existence, of the existence of Western democracies in general, I think we're talking about a convergence of 3 elements. And I'll put it in a soundbite so you'll remember. It's the element of might, of right, and smart. Now, this conference combined all 3, and I think the added benefit of this conference and following conferences is that we have to be smart. Giora Island and I think Yuval Steinitz talked about the might, or I would say, what is Israel's strength? Professor Ariel Dad so eloquently talked about the right, the birthright of the Jewish people, the right to the land, the rights that we have to have. John Villanova, which I heard, internalized, I think, both the might and the right, but actually spoke about how to be smart on this future battlefield. How do we conduct ourselves so we combine both the might and the right? So the smart was the byproduct of the meeting of minds and hearts here, of the meeting of Professor Eldad, of Eliu Benon, who represents the media, of Yuval Steinitz, who comes with the strategic perception, and all the other spokesmen that came, particularly our friends from the Christian community, who elaborated on the right, and by standing so forceful for our right, displayed the real might of what we have. And therefore, what I want you to take back home, from this conference, and I have to thank Orly for putting this together. Maybe she didn't intend to create this very, very potent cocktail of right, might, and smart, but that was the actual byproduct and outcome of this conference. We have a war to fight. It's not a war on the ground. When we talk about the might is the most, I would say, element that is so elementary that we have it. We have our soldiers on the ground. We have the weapons technology. We have that. That is the most, I would say, of all the three elements, the least elusive. The right that we deal with, and Mort talked about it, and Ariel Dad talked about it, had to be continuously hammered, continuously talked about. Because what is the problem that we have when we deal with the, I would say, perceptual battlefield? And I can attest from my own experience as a spokesman, I never start from ground zero when I have to defend the state of Israel. I start from ground minus 2 or 3. Why? Because every time I have to explain the policy, I know that the question that is asked insinuates, why are you here in the first place? Why are you causing all these problems? So we are so unique in this battlefield or in this theater compared to other nations because we have to justify the very existence, our very right to exist as a nation, as a people. The right to have a capital, the right that are things that are elementary that other spokesmen in the world don't have to explain. They can go straight to explain their nuclear policy, their conventional war policy, their welfare policy. For us, every issue that has, first we have to explain our rights. So that's why it's so important to take that pillar of the right and stand up and speak out. And that's your mission. You saw here, heard some of the smart elements, how to bring those things together. I think you got the notion that despite all the shortcomings of the last war, Israel is strong as a society, strong in terms of its military might, strong in terms of its economic capability. But talking about the rights, that's what we need your help. It doesn't come easy and it doesn't come natural. So when you go home, you take your bag with all the notes that you've written down and the memories and the picture, and one picture that I want you to carry in your mind is that in the next Convergence conference that you are going to participate, not only are you going to bring more people to participate in that by spreading the word of what Convergence is all about, but you will come to that conference with better understanding and with a greater conviction about the might of Israel, the right of Israel, and the necessity to be smart. And I'll finish with a saying by one of Britain's famous lords, which said in one way, and this has been, I think, our predicament throughout the centuries. God, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to tell the difference between the two. Thank you.
Okay.
If there are any questions from anyone in the audience or any comments before we send everyone on their safe way, let me bring the microphone to you. I'll do my best, Phil Donahue, and run to you and dive into the crowd. But I want to make sure everything is on microphone.
Orly, I want to thank you most expressly on behalf of the American pro-Israel Christian community, whom I represent with CPAC in Washington. We're so thankful to you for what you've done here. You are a true Eshet Hayil, as it says in Proverbs 31 of our common Bible. Eshet Hayil, miyotzei, a woman of valor, really a woman soldier. Who can find such a one? And that's you, my dear. So we thank you from the bottom of our heart. And as we've tried to bring forth here, Savannah loves Halloween, which is coming up. And I can see they're going to really celebrate it. I already see some start of that. And so we're not into Halloween, but let's say right now there's a very big influence, a very big, I'll just say it, a demonic influence hanging over this meeting, who occasionally has been mentioned. It's the president of Iran, who Kevin has mentioned, President Ahmadinejad and his crew. And it's not too much to say that he is, as Yuval Steinitz mentioned, very much like a modern-day Hitler, except he may have the weapons that Hitler tried to get, but thank God did not, the nuclear weapons. But the basic thing is not what's in his arsenal, it's what's in his heart and what's in his mind and what he's expressed more than 50 times in the last year. That is to say, incitement to genocide and threats of genocide, very specifically, God forbid, I hate to say it, but against Israel and against the Jewish people. Not only that, but far greater experts on genocide than I in Israel, in America, and throughout the world have said these are criminal offenses under the Genocide Convention that the international community has adopted, and this genocide has already begun because Ahmadinejad has funded, provided officers and arms to Hamas, especially to Hezbollah in the recent war, and in other venues has brought forth this terrible blight and continued threat upon Israel. So what we much want to do, and I've mentioned this to you, we want to call him what he is, as some have already done from various quarters around the world, say that he is an inciter to genocide, a threatener of genocide, and someone who's already begun and who wishes to finish the job. So we want to bring this to our president's attention. So would it be fair to say that you associate with this initiative of ours to bring this to the attention of the president, to say on very prophetically, we started out with the threat to Beirut, where the Marines were killed in that moving and memorable ceremony yesterday morning when that young lady Marine led the honor guard in here. Tears were in our eyes as we saw what the Hezbollah had done to our people in Beirut those many years ago, and today he wants to do it not only to Israel but to America. So and today, amazingly, is United Nations Day. And many of us here have the same opinion that Kevin and I have. We're not very fond of the United Nations and not very respectful of what they can do. But it's time to say, I believe, to the World Court, we need to call President Ahmadinejad and his accomplices and his co-conspirators to the bar before the World Court and call them what they are. Is it fair to say that you might associate on behalf of Convergence with this initiative?
I think that this is a very good initiative, but however, I want to correct something. The fact that he's preparing for genocide, it doesn't mean that it's happening. They are trying, but God will stop them before. So yes, I do support the idea that we have to come and call them to the table. The incitement is bad for the universe, and it's against United Nations resolution on human rights, and we have to call him before the Court of Justice. However, we're not going to let him even start.
We have Rabbi.
Orly, I want to thank you for inviting me to participate here, and I think that everybody who came, if they came through the hall, all the sessions and everything that was said, they certainly are the richer for it today. And those who just came for part of it, also gained something, because there was not a minute lost. And dvarim hayotzim min halev nichnasim el halev, words that come out of the heart enter into a heart. This morning, while I was praying my morning prayers, I was thinking, as I always do, try to put emphasis on one particular thing. And this morning, as I was studying, as I was thinking of the word Brit. Brit, which means covenant. We are the people of the covenant, B'nai Brit, the organization took its name from the concept, and I was thinking of the name of this country. We live in the United States of America, USA, but in Israel and in Hebrew, they are called Artzot Habrit. And I said to myself, here is the secret of our connection. We live in Eretz Habrit. We live in the land of the covenant. This place is Artzot Habrit, it's the lands of the covenant. I know the covenant that you think you're talking about is the Constitution of the United States, based upon the Declaration of Independence of the United States. But make sure that you understand that the Declaration of Independence of the United States is a mirror of the covenant of Abraham. It comes from the Hebrew Scriptures. I don't call it Bible because, that's Greek to me. I call it the Hebrew Scriptures, I call it the Christian Scriptures, the New Testament, and I have respect for both Jews and Christians as people who have a covenant with God. We are together, Anshe Habrit, the people of the covenant. Now, we celebrate our independence, the Jewish people. It's 3,500 years since our independence, when Moshe took us out of Egypt. And when we celebrate it every year at Passover, it is traditional to leave a chair empty. And we call it Kiseh Shel Eliyahu. It is Elijah's chair, because we wait for him to come and sit with us and to announce the Messianic era, to announce the coming of the time of universal peace. But I would like to suggest to you that it also is like when the Air Force wants to commemorate a pilot who has passed away, they fly a missing man formation, and there's a plane missing in that formation, and we have that in our chair, the missing man formation. And we are missing. Yesterday, Limor Livnat spoke about our MIAs, our men that have been taken, that we know have been taken and that we want to see come back. But there is that empty chair. We have an MIA that's been gone for 20 years, Ron Arad. We didn't mention him yesterday.
Right.
We did him an injustice.
Right.
And so I thought that I would speak today for Ron Arad.
I'm so thankful for
I
that.
also want to speak because not only are we interested in those that we hope and expect that maybe they are alive, we also are responsible of bringing the remains of our people to a Jewish burial ground. And we have another hero, Eli Cohen, who was executed in Syria with disrespect for human rights, and whose remains have still not been returned to the land of Israel for the kind of hero's burial and martyr's burial that they deserve. And so I would like to thank you for the plan for living. But if we are to live and if we are to have a future, we must remember the price. We must remember those who are absent and those who paid with their lives and don't have the final honor. In their name, to you who is planning the future, thank you, and let's make sure we never forget them. Amen.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Yeah, if I can
Thank you very much for that, Rabbi.
Kevin, can we respond to that?
Please.
I think that Ranan would like to say something about too. It's something that we all have it inside, and sometimes it's so obvious that we fail to mention it. Those people that fight every time for the sake of liberty, for America, for the world, and for Israel. Those Israeli soldiers that were kidnapped. Limor mentioned them. The one that's still in jail, and the one that are just waiting to come back home to be buried. I wanted to say that we need to call upon them, upon the Syrian government to bring them home, upon the Iranian to bring Ron home, upon the Hezbollah, upon the Palestinian to release those soldiers. And may we see them soon home.
I wanted to add a point about the Iranian threat, particularly to our good friends, the Christians, and those who are well versed with the Bible, and also with the world affairs of what's happening around us. You can take perhaps some solace and advice from the Persian threat that faced the Jewish people several thousand years ago. You go back to the book of Esther, and you try to analyze what did Esther do in order to foil the Iranian threat. And you know, the writing was on the wall then too. It was in Persian. Well, she understood Persian. You know, she took her case to the public arena. She exposed what Haman was supposed to do. In other words, there is a hint there. I'm not saying that you could follow the same method because, of course, circumstances have changed. But it has a very important message to us in terms of how do you deal with the Iranian threat. Well, one thing is, of course, to take out the nuclear bomb, attack, use force. The other is the thing that I hinted here, that you should come out of this, be smart. Maybe we have to redefine the Iranian threat. Not just the nuclear threat, but Iran as the threat. How do we deal with Iran, not with Iran's nuclear bomb? What has to be done with this regime? And here you can start a public campaign like I would say Mordechai started with Esther, and you get more people to expose what Ahmadinejad wants to do and get the support of other people in the world. And then foil it, either because of a regime change or whatever. But I'm thinking there is a lesson there and perhaps a hint of what should be the way to deal with those people who want to commit genocide. I'm not ruling out the need to use force at a given time. But until you reach that point, you have to use the maneuvering, or I would say be smart. Try to rotate the matrix so it will be in your favor. And then, if there is no possibility, then you strike. But go back to the book of Esther and read it very carefully and see how the Jews were redeemed from another tyrant who wanted to bring about genocide on the Jewish people.
Mr. Benon?
Orly, maybe the people here do not know the meaning of your name. I should translate to my light, Orly, and you actually brought a lot of light to the life of many people here. So first of all, I would like to thank you for your efforts. I didn't know the details. Until I came here, I was not realized about your personal problems, and I wish you a lot of love and success in your struggle. And I would like you to change your email from orlyusa@aol.com to orlyisraelusa@aol.com.
I'll try.
Try, because that way, many meanings inside. Orly, my light, Israel, USA, and you actually, in the way you organized everything here, symbolize a good connection that we in Israel know and to appreciate with our good friends in America. And behind any great program, there is always one great person. He's the dynamo, he's the engine, and that's absolutely you. So first of all, promise you change your email, and then I'm inviting you to 1 hour program on Israel Radio that you will be able to tell our listeners about everything was here. And I believe that, let's say, hundreds of thousands of Israelis will be happy to hear about your activity. And in that time, I also invite Kevin to be a guest in Israel. He's never been in Israel.
Yes.
And I promise Kevin that my radio station, Israel National Radio Station, Kol Israel, will cooperate with your station in Columbia, South Carolina. I think it's important that our listeners will have a chance to hear what you say and what your listeners can do. And I would like to take that opportunity to thank our American friends, especially the Christian community. When you are alone in Israel sometimes, you feel there is some people, good people around the world who are supporting us. When you come all the way to Savannah and you see them face to face, you know how to appreciate that. So thank you, all the good friends in America, for your support for the State of Israel. We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Time for a couple of more brief comments, and I know Mr. Klein had one.
Thank you. First, I would like to add that every time I saw Orly, I looked at Orly, I was re-inspired simply by looking at you, knowing of your work and your thoughts and your beliefs and your commitment to reaffirm and commit myself to Eretz Yisrael and the Jewish people. So it's just a pleasure to be able to say that you're my friend and that I know you. I also want to just say a couple of things of what I took out of this conference. First, I took out of this conference, from all the speeches that I heard, is that peace will not be possible no matter what is done until the Arabs begin to educate their people for peace. Right now, they're only educating for hatred and murder, and until that changes, nothing else will work. We have to really recommit to emphasize this as a very serious issue, to transform that culture where parents do not have parties after suicide bombings where their children die and say how proud they are of their children, something we can't even conceive of. We have to really understand that that is maybe the most important issue we have to deal with, or nothing else will be able to change. And secondly, and finally, I read a book by Professor Donald Kagan, Professor of Classics and History at Yale University recently, called On the Preparation of, on Peace and War, something like that. I can't remember even quite the name of it. And in his book, he said he studied for 3,000 years treaties and agreements between entities who are at war. And he said one theme has emerged, one truth has emerged in his study. The Middle East is not mentioned. And that is that unilateral concessions and appeasement has always failed. It's never worked where two entities make an agreement and only one fulfills it and the other ignores it. You only got back to violence and war yet again. And I think that's a lesson that a number of our speakers helped us understand, is that appeasement and one-sided concessions of the Arab world will fail. And I'll end with a quote myself by Winston Churchill, who said, "Those who appease the crocodile will simply be eaten last." Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Professor Eldad?
I also want to add my thanks to Orly for the wonderful meeting she put together. And we've heard so many ideas, so many advices how to deal with the problem. So I want to send you home just with another story. A Chassid came to his rabbi. He had a chicken farm, and he told him that the chickens are dying daily. So the rabbi gave him the advice, said they are dying from cold. You must heat the chicken coop. So he went home and he put the heating devices, and it was even worse. They were dying in tens. So he came back to the rabbi and he told him, now more than 100 died this week. What shall I do? He said, it's overheating. Now you have to cool it, put ventilators in the chicken coop and it will be okay. He went home, he put the ventilator, and now there were 500 of them dead on the ground. The second day he came back to the rabbi. He asked him, what shall I do? The rabbi said, they are nervous. You must surround the chicken coop with some green color. That will calm them down and it will be fine. Came home, half of the chicken coop was dead as anything on the ground. The next day, came back to the rabbi, and he asked him, it's a real problem. Don't you have another advice? He said, and the rabbi said, I have plenty of advices. The question is how many chickens you have. I don't know how many chickens we have for so many advisors. It's time for war against Iran. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor. We have just a couple more minutes. I know I promised John a chance, and I know, Stephen, you have a chance.
Yes.
I just wanted to make one quick comment. David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister and first modern statesman of the state of Israel, once said, if an expert says it can't be done, get another expert. I think we found our other expert, and it's Orly Benny Davis. We found someone who can take something from nothing. And we've been talking about first steps for the last 3 days. And as a first step towards the rebuilding of Israel, the sustenance of Israel, and the support for Israel, I'd like to give you this, and it says, Ki tavuo el haaretz v'nitatas. Ben, can you translate for? It says, when you shall come to the land, you shall plant trees. Leviticus 19:23. A tree has been planted in Israel as part of Operation Northern Renewal in honor of Orly Benny Davis Convergence Summit 2006 by the Jewish National Fund, Southeast Region, Atlanta, Georgia, by Talia Tzor, JNF Israeli Emissary, and Stephen Green, Campaign Executive, October 23rd, 2006. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, very much for that. I'll get Mary. I'll get you in 1 sec, Mary. John?
Orly, I'm so honored to be here. I'm so pleased and blessed that you invited me. And my mother taught me a prayer when I was young, and I say this prayer every morning and every night. And she said, the prayer basically went like this: make me a man of purpose and goodwill, and give me the opportunity to fellowship with those that share in that ideal. And it's obvious by your invitation that I was given that opportunity here. And I'm honored to have been, first of all, with the speakers who were brilliant and who were insightful, with the audience that was passionate, and to have made the acquaintance with you, who you embody purpose, goodwill, and fellowship. So God bless you, and God bless this event and the people who attended. And I'll share this with you. Where there is hope, there is love. And if there's love, there's an opportunity to prosper and to overcome. In the military, we have a saying, and that is that you hold the sword. On one side is compassion. On the other side is courage. The one reason that we will prevail is because we hold that sword and we respect equally both sides. The adversary does not. So stay strong, stay faithful. We will prevail. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you.
Hey, Mary.
I'm Mary Bodziner, president of the Savannah Jewish Federation. And on behalf of our federation, thank you so much for being here. We're thrilled that you are here. And next year, when you plan this, keep it in Savannah, please.
Yes, you betcha. Kevin, if I can thank the Federation for being and standing with me with all the heat that the community got and all the newspapers, articles. Mary, you stand fast with everything, and I thank you, and I thank Moises and Sharon that, they had to get the heat because there are not many believers in this world, to understand that there are so many good people, because all the people that came here, they came with goodwill. So we knew that. We know that. That's why we do that. So when Amos came and said, I'm coming, I'm working with you, he knew that we can do it. So we pulled it all together. And the convention center, let me tell you something. This convention center is so beautiful. The location is so fantastic that I would never move it from here. But more than that, the people that operate, McGregor, he's standing back there. He helped us in so many ways. It was like having wings. I felt many times alone, but he and his crew, Paula, the people that work with him really gave us the power to do it. So McGregor, next year here, God will. And something I failed to mention before. Behind you, Kevin, is sitting a man that works so hard, Mr. Ken George. He wakes me in the morning, he said, are you ready? Let's go. Just move it. I feel like a soldier when I work with him, but he came through it for us in this Convergence 2006 with his wife, help us. They made the tags happen. They make so many things happen. So I don't want to send you away without letting you know that they did so much work. And of course for David, that he had to stand all this heat and to spend the money too. So I hope Park West will be successful for you. So next year, if there will be availability for you to do it, God will, I hope that you'll stand with us too. Thank you so much.
Moises Paz, Savannah Jewish Federation. Frequently the Federation raises money to support causes throughout the world, some popular, some less popular. In this business, I've realized that Hashem, God, knows who he blesses. And he blessed Orly and he blessed David with the ability to have atzlacha so that they can give back the funds into causes that benefit all of us. And on behalf of the Savannah Jewish Federation, we focus on supporting causes that support Israel and that support Jews. And as a federation, that is our mission and that is what we do. We realize that sometimes without a little bit of heat, you can't cook. And we're happy to be cooking in Savannah, that we should be able to have atzlacha, that we should be able to promote causes that support Jewish people and causes that support the less fortunate Jews and the more fortunate Jews, the Jews who stand on the left, the Jews who stand on the right, because as we all know, the strength of the Jewish people is when we're together. And that's what we're about, and we should have atzlacha as Am Israel, as one people of Israel. Thank you. And thank you, Orly. Thank you, David. It's a pleasure working with you all. And thank you, Kevin.
Thank you, Moises.
Orly and David, on behalf of the Christians that have been here, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to you. In my many years on the face of this earth, I've learned that there are three kinds of people: those who watch things happen, those to whom things happen, and those who make things happen. And you and David have indeed made something happen here today, and hopefully it will continue to move forward. And again, thank you for inviting us here, and we hope that we can be a part of anything that you do in the future, because it's for Israel.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. I want to thank everyone for allowing me the privilege to learn so much and allowing me the opportunity to kind of keep the train on the tracks. But the Queen Bee here has done something that has touched a lot of lives, and we hope we'll touch a whole lot more. But God bless you. You are very special, and this is your party, so send it off.
All right.
Final thoughts?
Yes, I want to thank God for giving us the spirit to do these things. Yesterday, somebody told me, Mr. Mort Klein, he said, somebody mentioned that when they hear that somebody's on a mission from God, they're upset. But he says, I am with a mission from God. I work for the Jewish people. I believe in this covenant. We all, Jewish people, are carrying that belief that we are part of it, because without the miracles and without Almighty support, Israel could never exist. So I want to thank God, and I hope that He'll give us the power and the wisdom to do this next year and the years to come, and maybe something will come out. And Norm, I didn't forget you. Thank you for everything, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Safe travels home. If you have any suggestions or hopes that we can do differently or better next time around, please get in touch with me, and we'll be happy to take those and get those to Orly. But thank you so much for being with us for our Convergence Conference. God bless.
again.